So I was scrolling X one morning and I came across this post. This guy asked his AI assistant to make a reservation at a restaurant. His AI agent couldn't make a reservation the normal way, so it physically called the restaurant using the 11 Labs API. It called the restaurant and it was able to make a successful reservation. This isn't just normal AI. This is OpenClaw. It is an AI agent that has full access to your computer. It can do things like send emails and manage your calendar. It connects to WhatsApp, to Discord, to Telegram, and it can message you first when a task is done. OpenClaw is an open source AI that has rapidly gained fame as the AI that actually does things. A personal assistant that can take action on your behalf, not just talk. It went viral overnight, around 100,000 stars on GitHub. The project was originally published in November 2025 by an Austrian coder called Peter Steinberger. Really cool that it is an indie one-man developer and not a giant corporate. And it is the fastest growing open source project to date, which is pretty impressive. Now with ChatGPT, with Gemini, etc., you have to communicate with it on its own platform, and it can't really do any tasks for you. OpenClaw is different. This is me sending OpenClaw a WhatsApp about flight prices around a specific time, and then asking it for the weather. On the background, it's chatting to me on WhatsApp. It's also running its own search on a browser and reporting back what it's found. This is all done on WhatsApp. And it's so easy to set up that you don't even need to be a technical person. Here's another example. This person who isn't even in IT, this person says that OpenClaw has its own phone number, it reads emails, and this person can actually text it back and forth all day. They go on to say it can do projects that they email to it, and it reports back the results via email. And it can text others on his behalf as needed. So when ChatGPT first exploded in popularity, many of us dreamed of this Jarvis-like AI that could not only chat, but actually get things done in our digital lives. In reality, ChatGPT, as amazing as it remains still a conversational tool, powerful for answering questions and generating responses, but still fundamentally limited to its chat box. It can't clear your inbox, it can't book flights for you in the background. Unlike ChatGPT, OpenClaw runs on its own machine and not in the cloud. That means that your data and its long-term memory actually stays with you. This is great for privacy, and also you're giving it access to a digital version of you. So it does make it way more powerful than any other AI. And OpenClaw isn't limited into a sandbox. If you give it access, it can execute real commands on your system. Like when this guy installed OpenClaw on WhatsApp, it started messaging his wife at 1 a.m. about their crying baby. Now, this was an experiment that this guy has done. He was willing to let OpenClaw access his wife's chat, but still really interesting. So essentially, OpenClaw is what ChatGPT was supposed to be. Just a really simple yet powerful tool. But that power comes with responsibility. And you do want that power. So let's do it. How would you set it up? And actually, it's pretty simple. So this is a use case. I want to chat with my AI agent on WhatsApp. I wanted to do some basic research for me, check weather, flight prices, etc. Now you have two main options here. Option one is run OpenClaw on your local machine, your desktop, your laptop, whatever. Option two would be to host it on a server. Now running it on your own PC is free and it does keep everything local. But it means that the AI is only awake when your PC is on. And not to mention the performance of your PC takes a beating. However, if you want an assistant that is always available, then to be honest, a VPS is ideal. What is a VPS? A VPS is a virtual private server. It's like renting a slice of a server online that's always on, and you can access this remotely. So if you do want OpenClaw to be running constantly and you don't want to have it run full-time on your own personal computer, then use a VPS. This is where our sponsor, Hostinger, comes in. Hostinger offers an affordable, easy-to-use VPS that is perfect for an AI agent like OpenClaw. Look, I'm going to be honest here, even if this video wasn't sponsored, you shouldn't run this locally on your personal computer. Just use a VPS. This is because security is a big plus for something like a VPS. You're dealing with AI agents having access to your files. Hosting this VPS includes features like an easy firewall setup, snapshots and backups, And of course, you have full control over the server environment. So the preferred advice is to limit and isolate OpenClaw. And hosting it on a VPS is actually a great way to do that. The agent will run on a server that is separate from your own personal files. And you can even lock down that server. Plus, the good thing about Hostinger is that it does have 24/7 customer support. So if you do hit a snag at 2 a.m. trying to get your AI agent butler to work, they've got your back. So this is how you set it up. I went to this link here, hostinger.com/codingwithdee. The link is in the description. And I select my plan. So I am choosing KVM2. So this VPS plan is cost effective and you do get access to a dedicated resource and a stable network. You would need a stable network if you use OpenClaw, especially if you need to make any web requests. It comes with 2 CPU cores, 8 GB of RAM, and 100 GB of SSD storage disk space. This is plenty to run for something like this. Once you select it, you get to this page and you just choose your time frame for billing and input this coupon code, codingwithdee, for 10% off. You can choose the location of the server. It generally suggests a good one. And then it takes a few minutes to set up. And that is your VPS all set up. Then go to Manage VPS and click Terminal. From there, we need to install OpenClaw on our VPS. So I am entering this command, which you can get from the OpenClaw homepage. So I'm entering it here and it takes a few minutes to install. And then select Quick Start. And then you will need an API key for the specific LLM that you're using. So OpenClaw is a framework. You do need an API key. I'm using OpenAI because I have that API set up and I'll input that key. It will also now ask you what messenger apps to connect to. I've selected WhatsApp. And with WhatsApp, you'll need to input your phone number. However, if you select another messaging app like Telegram, you won't need that. Then we'll need to link our devices. So it will generate a QR code on WhatsApp that you'll scan and link the device, and that's it. After a few minutes, you open WhatsApp and you can start chatting to OpenClaw, which is basically yourself. You chat to your own contact on WhatsApp, but it's OpenClaw responding. Now here you can see that I've started to ask it questions. I've also connected it to the Brave Search API because I wanted OpenClaw to be able to browse the web when I ask it questions. So I went to Brave Search, signed up for a free account, and then got an API key there. I then went to Hostinger VPS, and I ran this specific command, which will actually install the Brave Search with my API key. And now I had web search as well. So now I can ask it a question, it can search the web and give me an answer. You'll do something similar if you want to install other plugins. OpenClaw calls that skills, like a plugin to connect to your Google Calendar. But this is the entire working process. Big thanks to Hostinger for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. If you're interested in trying Hostinger, check out the link in my description for a discount on their VPS plans. It's a great way to support the channel while diving into AI agents yourself. So at this stage, I'm about 30 minutes in, and I was able to install OpenClaw on a VPS and start interacting with it on WhatsApp. So you might be wondering, well, how does OpenClaw achieve this? What magic powers this assistant and makes it do things? The core idea here is that OpenClaw itself is an orchestrator. It is a framework that can plug into various AI models and tools. The brains of the operation is still a large language model, like ChatGPT or Google Gemini, etc. It's why I had to connect to the OpenAI API in the first place when I was installing OpenClaw. So OpenClaw can be configured to use OpenAI's GPT-4, 3.5, whatever model you want, or Anthropic's Claude, or Google Gemini, etc. Because this is still the intelligence that understands your commands and generates responses. The difference here is that OpenClaw wraps the intelligence with a lot of connected tissues and plugins, which OpenClaw calls skills. There's also memory management, as well as actually communicating with OpenClaw via messaging apps like WhatsApp. And that makes a difference. It's like a clever shell around an LLM that gives it eyes, hands, and even that long-term memory. And because OpenClaw is open source, anyone can write new plugins, new skills that teach the agent new capabilities. For instance, this guy here uses OpenClaw to control his smart home. Essentially, if there's an API or script for a specific tool, you can make an OpenClaw skill to let the AI use it. It also figures out errors in troubleshooting, which I found really, really interesting. So this guy here gave OpenClaw a webcam and connected it to a Bluetooth sticker printer and just told OpenClaw, figure out how to print with this. And about half an hour or so, it eventually did. So what happens is that it would print something, view what it had printed on the webcam, and figure out if it printed it correctly. If not, it would go back to troubleshooting and debugging until it got the process correct. That is pretty awesome. So with such power and openness, there is no surprise that security is a hot topic. The creators of OpenClaw are well aware that a malicious or buggy skill/plugin could be dangerous. So to address this, they have partnered with security firms to scan every published skill for malware or even suspicious behavior, which is a great start. But honestly, the best practice here is for users to treat OpenClaw like any other service with permissions. Run it on a secure environment. Run it on a VPS like Hostinger. With a VPS, you do have full control of the server environment, but it also limits access to only what it needs and avoids exposing its interface to the public internet. So remember my example earlier, I had to physically install Brave Search on OpenClaw and get the API key for it to have access to web browsing. If I installed it locally on my machine, it would be able to get access to everything on my machine. However, with the VPS, there's no way you can get access to my personal information because it's a closed environment. So I like to think of it as an extremely smart remote worker for your computer. You'd give it a standard user account, you won't give it keys to your kingdom. And you should always keep an eye on what exactly it's doing. By now, if you look on social media, when you search for OpenClaw, you'll see that people are buying a bunch of Mac Minis specifically to run OpenClaw. Probably overkill for you to just experiment unless you have a lot of tasks that you need to do. Again, much more better for you to run it on a closed environment and on a VPS. Oh, but side note, people have let their OpenClaw agents interact with each other and not just with humans. Like they created a bot social network. So a developer named Matt set his own OpenClaw agent loose to create something called MoltBook. And this is a social media platform that is exclusive for AI agents. If you're a human, you aren't allowed to post in there. You can just view. And it worked. So on MoltBot, only bots can actually post. They can write status updates, they can comment, they can argue, they can form their own groups. And human users can only watch in the sidelines. And interestingly, in just a couple of weeks, MoltBook had exploded to about 1.5 million AI agents using it. I'm not sure how I feel about this because this is a waste of resources. But anyway, it just shows you how self-service OpenClaw is. The main benefit of OpenClaw is that it can extend across your system and take action. And that could mean it deciding to make a post on AI social media. But it also does tasks that are pretty purposeful. So this guy here has OpenClaw looking at his iMessages every 15 minutes. If OpenClaw finds that he's made a specific promise of doing something on a specific day, like tomorrow, example, if you say something like, let me review this tomorrow, it will create a calendar event. For now, OpenClaw is just a must to try out. The concept of it is simple, but wow, it's just a missing link that other big providers have lacked for so long. And just remember to always use common sense and your general safety practices. Run it on a controlled environment, a VPS like Hostinger, keep an eye on it, and maybe don't hook it up to your life-critical systems. It's just a really interesting piece of technology and always just cool when an indie developer creates something and everybody goes crazy. Big thanks to Hostinger for sponsoring today's video. Check out the links below for discounts if you do want to get a VPS and play with OpenClaw. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.